Ladies and gentlemen, hello, and you are watching TTV Newsroom Tay Ninh radio television station. And now we come to details. Ladies and gentlemen, in the morning of November 2020, the Standing Committee of the Provincial People Council held the conference to supervise the settlement of voter petition after the 17th session of the Provincial People Council under the chair of Mr. Võ Đức Trong, Vice Chairman of the Provincial People Council. Attending the conference, there were Mr. Trang Bang Town, Vice Chairman of the Provincial People Committee, and leaders of department branches in the province.
Mr. Trang Bang Town, Chief of Office of National Assembly Delegation, the Provincial People's Council and the People's Committee said that most of the voters' petitions before and after the 17th session of the Provincial People's Council, as well as the outstanding recommendations at the previous meetings, have been directed to serve by the Provincial People's Committee, and actual results would have received the approval and appreciation of the Provincial People's Council deputies and voters. Of which, the most recommended issues were the quality of roads and service quality of some deteriorating clean water supply stations. The related departments analyzed the cause, took responsibility and gave solution and roadmap for handling in the coming time. The Standing Committee of the Provincial People's Council asked the Provincial People's Committee to continue monitoring and directing functional departments and the District People's Committee to focus on resolving outstanding petitions of voters, especially those content have been reflected by the voters many times. The Provincial People's Council will continue to monitor the settlement results of the Provincial People's Committee.
Ladies and gentlemen, Major General Hoàng Đình Chung, Political Chairman of Military Region 7 and National Assembly Deputy of the Province, on November 19, 2020, had a meeting with more than 140 voters in Trang Bang Town after the 10th session of the 14th National Assembly.
Major General Hoàng Đình Chung informed voters on the results of the 10th session of the 14th National Assembly. Voters were excited by the achievements of the last National Assembly session and proposed to the delegation of the Provincial National Assembly, as well as related agencies, on a number of issues, such as the shortage of human resources in many hospitals, the issue of receiving monthly allowance of the older people of 80 years old and over, or the regime for voluntary security forces. National Assembly Deputy Hoàng Đình Chung received the voters' opinions and recommendations and pledged to send them to the competent authorities for consideration and settlement. In the morning of November 20, 2020, the Ninh Farmers Union held a conference to review the coordination program on the implementation of credit policies between the Farmers Union and Liên Việt Postbank Tay Ninh branch in 2020. Implementing the interagency agreement between Farmers Union and Liên Việt Postbank Tay Ninh branch on the implementation of credit policies for agricultural and rural development, the total outstanding loans of the whole province as of October 2020 reached 158 billion Vietnam dong, reaching 35.5% of the plan. In 2020, the whole province had 4 units completing over 50% of the target, Hoa Thanh Thao along with outstanding debt balance growth of 11 billion Vietnam dong, reaching nearly 84% of the plan. Meanwhile, Tân Châu district reached 10.4 billion Vietnam dong, accounting for 79% of the plan. There were 80 out of 94 communes and towns having outstanding loans, in which localities with a high proportion of communes having outstanding loans were Hoa Thanh Thao, Tay Ninh City, Tân Châu, and Dương Minh Châu districts. On this occasion, Tay Ninh Provincial Farmers Union also commended and rewarded 8 collectives and 7 individuals for their achievements in bilateral coordination in 2020. In the afternoon of November 19, 2020, the People's Committee of Cô Dâu District held its November regular meeting. According to the report, by 2020, The district has fulfilled 9 out of 14 main targets and 12 out of 13 development targets of each industry. The National Target Program on Building New Style Rural Areas has been effectively implemented. It's expected that in 2020, the commune will certify standards for New Style Rural Area, bringing the total number of communes meeting new rural standards to 6 ones. The total balance of budget revenue is estimated at over 210 billion Vietnam dong, reaching nearly 110% of the provincial plan, in which some revenue sources are fairly good, ensuring balanced budget, meeting the necessary expenditure needs of the district. Delivering closing speech, Mr. Nguyễn Văn Nhu, chairman of the People's Committee of Cù District, proposed that in the coming time, functional branches should focus on industrial development towards high technology-friendly environment, promoting the development of key products with competitive advantages and improve the quality of agricultural production.
Ladies and gentlemen, building new style rural area is one of the remarkable results that the province has achieved in 2020. That is the overall assessment of the Provincial People Committee in the implementation of socio-economic development tasks of the province in 2020.
Hoa Thanh Town completed the task of building new style rural areas in 2019 and is submitting documents to the Ministry of Agriculture and Rural Development for recognition. It's expected that by the end of 2020, the whole province will have 10 more communes meeting the new rural standards, bringing the total number of communes meeting new rural standards to 45 ones, reaching 63.4% of the total number of communes in the province. According to the Department of Agriculture and Rural Development, as of November 2020, 145 organizations and individuals producing fruit trees in the whole province have participated in the product traceability software called Keepers on an area of 1,232 hectares. So far this year, 5 facilities have been granted QR codes and product traceability stamps with an area of more than 100 hectares on green pomelos, custard apple, melon, and quarter mangoes. During the last time, the agricultural sector has cooperated with Kiat Company to organize training courses and guide people on how to use keyword traceability software and how to enter basic data on fertilizers and pesticides as recommended, so that farmers can apply strictly according to the manufacturer's recommendations and check whether the import of fertilizers and pesticides is on the list of permitted business and use by the Ministry of Agriculture and Rural Development. The application of the keyword traceability software helps producers manage their production process, grab production inputs and outputs, contributing to transparency and product traceability when required.
Ladies and gentlemen, that's all for today TTV News. Thank you for watching and see you next time.